for us to host this 3D Gem 2023 launching ceremony in IIT Bombay. And I'm so glad and happy to see all the key respondents being present for this event. I mean, everybody is an important respondent in their own area of expertise. And that's the key, and that's been our clear intention and our focus in terms of seeing that all the industry respondents who want to know about 3D technology needs to be exposed to what this technology can offer. So 3D Gem, the propagation of the technology, as I mentioned, it constitutes of 3D printing, 3D scanning, 3D design, 3D software, 3D simulation and 3D visualization. AR and VR is also gaining a lot of traction now. And also 3D printable materials. I think there's so much to learn from the technology, and I'm sure on 9th and 10th we'll be able to explore it to the T. So may I now invite Dr. Jayesh Ballare, the Institute Chair and also the organizing committee member of 3D Gem. Sir, thank you. Please, sir.
Thank you, Shibu, and welcome to all of you to IIT Bombay. Special thanks to my faculty colleagues who have joined. Our Dean R&D has graciously taken time to be with us, and he will speak in a few moments. And my other faculty colleagues and heads of department will come here. So IIT Bombay has a special place for this conference, and that's why we are part of this. We provide education, research, and a milieu in which many startups have nucleated and thrived and gone on to bigger and better things. And we are hopeful that that many more will post this conference, which is at the beginning of December, as Shibu has explained. We have slides, but I see many of them are in parallel with what Shibu has said. But I think let me emphasize a few things which are marked in yellow here. So the keyword here is really democratizing, in the sense that this seems to be a pervasive technology, and pervasive not just to the elite, but also to those who wish to do it as a hobby, or those who wish to practice it. And many of my surgeon friends, have these machines sitting on their table in their consulting rooms, and they all say that we started to play with this as a technology, but we find it indispensable today for our surgery planning. And that has now led on to even better things. Some of you are manufacturers here, and you are making 3D printed products which are actually sitting in the human body. Dr. John Neeson is a prime example I can see, with whom we've been affiliated for a very long time, and many others here, which too numerous for me to take by name here. So the idea of us coming together, that is Shibu and IIT Bombay, is to bring researchers at IIT as well as elsewhere, and those who are in the education sector, to link up with manufacturers, end users, those who wish to promote this technology across disciplines. Right? We saw things like rocket nozzles to medical implants. Right? So everything is covered in this area. Right? And the kind of subjects that are covered are several, and this is not just 3D printing, but equally important is 3D visualization and the ability to have an environment, an augmented reality environment in which these products can be designed well, and applications abound. This is just 4 or 5 listed over here, and we at IIT Bombay are working on all of these, and we hope that our interactions with you during the conference, and why wait for the conference, even before that, our Dean R&D will tell you about opportunities to interact as soon as I'm done. Just to give you one example, the kind of booster rocket nozzles with built-in cooling channels and complex morphologies could never have been made by conventional manufacturing. Today are made. So totally new ways of making things. And the kind of R&D that is possible in this area happens at institutions such as this. So we are very happy to be part of this. And I already mentioned continuing education. We hope that we are able to make small modules which will help even the medical profession and dental profession get some continuing education credits, which today are very important in professional development. So the event itself, which we are here to launch today, is on 8th and 9th December. There is a conference which has 18 sessions covering different sectors. On 9th December, the focus is on engineering and industrial manufacturing. On 10th December, the focus is on medical and dental. So these sessions will consist of talks by experts. There also will be parallel poster presentations and awards arising from those presentations, again in those two disciplines. We recognize that there is transdisciplinarity in these, so we expect some of these to be across both days. And besides this, there will be an exhibition where many of you have already agreed to participate, and some of you are still testing the waters. We hope today's launch will help you decide to come and be part of this exhibition, which is across the hardware, the software, the kind of visualization tools and so on. The posters, the best posters will be selected for awards, besides having the sponsors and exhibitors. And we sincerely thank those who will be supporting us. Some of you have committed, others I hope will do so immediately hereafter. So let me close by thanking you all for coming, and I will now invite our Dean R&D, Professor Sachin Patwardhan, to say a few words. Please, all research contact to IIT happens through his office.
So, distinguished guests, researchers, policymakers from the industry, colleagues from IIT Bombay and friends, I'm very happy to be part of this launching event for 3D GEM 2023. It looks like very, very exciting. So, let me give you a brief about what the R&D office does. We are the interface between the industry and the academic world inside IIT Bombay. We play, when we get some problem statements from industry or government agency, government labs, we identify faculty members who are working in that area, we connect with the industry. There are multiple ways we engage do this engagement. One is a consultancy project where there is something short term, very specific. And the other one is a sponsored research project, which are long term. So consultancy projects could be 1 year, half a year. Sponsored research projects are typically 2 to 3 years, where the partners try to develop something new, novel, and jointly the IP is owned by the sponsoring agency and IIT Bombay. So it's a exciting time, and I hope all of you will communicate this to the community, and then there will be big participation in this event. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Like to invite Mr. Ashwini Sharma, who is the Vice Chairman with Aeronautical Society of India.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here and I see the professionals here. What comes to my mind is that we professionals sitting in this room, we are divided by our professions and joined by 3D printing. And believe you me, we have been stuck at a facility, at an MRO facility, where the aircraft is grounded for a return check for months together because of the lead time for the cabin items, the wheel trays, the seat caps, etc. Those are the things which take huge amount of time, and the lease clock keeps ticking. And the lease is not a small change; it's up to $350,000–400,000 per aircraft per month. So if your lease delivery is delayed by 3 months, you are down by $1 million. And the airlines have been bankrupt, gone bankrupt on these issues. And these are documented facts, I'm not talking out of my head. Documented facts that airlines have gone bankrupt because they could not return the leased aircraft. So in such a situation, 3D printing is a big boon, because all those items can be 3D printed on site. So you don't have a supply chain obstacles, you don't have a vast distances of supply chain bringing the items from somewhere in US where they are created or made and then bring them to India or Southeast Asia. You can print them on site, and all those items, the wheel trays, etc., they are not critical items from safety point of view. So the safety aspect is also not that great in that. So you can easily print them and deliver the aircraft on time. So from an aviation perspective, besides the realm of the future where we will be 3D printing the jet engine, hot section, blades, vanes and discs, which are massively a set of blades or a set of vanes for jet engine could be $1 million plus, could be $5 million, just one set. And there are 4 stages. So you are looking at the kind of costs that are there. And those are proprietary items, the materials are proprietary materials. Only a few companies in the world, General Electric, Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce, those are the only guys who can make them. If you can 3D print them sitting at home, that would be great. I mean, I would love to run an airline where I can 3D print every spare parts, because spare parts supply chain is the biggest, I would say, impediment in making profits and making losses. So 3D printing is the future. 3D printing is what we all would love to look at, and I am sure that from now onwards, any aviation conference, and I do a lot of conferences, aviation conferences in India and abroad, I don't anticipate seeing a conference without a 3D printing session, without half a day devoted to 3D printing, and because all the stakeholders, all concerned parties would love to, get on board, get ideas, network, get together, and somebody would ask me whether he should invest money in setting up an airline. I would say, no, you would be stupid if you want to start an airline, because the joke in aviation industry is that if you want to become a millionaire and you are a billionaire, you should start an airline, because that's the way things go. And the shelf life of a startup airline is between 2.5 to 4 years. The last airline I worked for, we lasted 4 years. So that being the scenario, if somebody wants to invest in aviation in India, I would suggest him to set up a 3D printing and start making 3D aircraft parts. He would be minting money before you can say Jack Anderson. So gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to me for whatever time you've given me. Thank you, Shibu, for having me here, and I look forward to seeing all of you in the conference on 9th and 10th and in any other conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And that was very encouraging to see that 3D printing technology space would be now getting that proliferation for business going forward. So thank you so much, sir. And we look forward to MRO Association and also Aeronautical Society of India to actively be a part of this. So the end users can get to learn and be updated on what this technology can do. And of course, the technologies that we have here to showcase, I'm sure it will be very interesting. So thank you. Now may I now invite another gentleman who is actually in the medical device space. So we have a very diverse space that we are actually trying to cover through this event. So let me introduce Mr. Pradeep Narkede. He is a Managing Director with Excellence Medical Technologies Private Limited, and he is also one of our key respondents with All India Industry of Medical Device Industries. Yeah, so please, thank you.
So thank you team here, 3D Graphy and the consortium of IIT who jointly has this facility. This is kind of much needed initiative for industry, and typically when a specialty parts or the precision parts you need in smaller quantity, because we are always struggling for low volume high precision. When you talk about the industry, the major hurdle to produce is because we talk about the tolerances in microns and the quantity is around 10 or 20 for the pilot batch. And that typically always a difficulty when you go to any manufacturer, they say no, this tolerance, if I set a machine, my setting shift time, the cost is more than your parts of batch cost. So it is always a difficulty to produce a low volume, high precision parts from any of a turning, tooling or machining facility with high precision, complicated molds, complicated geometry is always a difficulty. Now in medical industry, we all know that we need interfaces between different geometries and parts made for different critical applications, and is always a challenge. For surgical devices, what we produce, we always face a problem of creating ceramic parts, because in industry, in the working domain, there are very few companies in India who actually does a ceramic as a molding. And then there is always a challenge. We even tried with dental labs. I have approached some dental labs to produce 3D printing in ceramics. And then, see, the dental ceramic and industrial ceramics is not the same. But we face the challenges. When I see this opportunity, I say it's a great for industry. When such parts are getting printed in low volume, we can do our devices as a faster trial for clinicals, studies, the initial studies and the clinical studies, because biocompatible ceramics is also well printable, and then we can do a faster initiation of projects, and that could lead to a yield. So we think these initiatives are much needed for industry to support. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pradhan, for your inputs, and also yes, medical device when it comes to inventories, this technology, and also with multiple materials that we can look at in terms of the choice, it becomes more convenient way. Now let me introduce the key respondent from dental here, Dr. Himanshu Mehta. Dr. is the president with the Indian Society of Oral Implantology, and also very keen to work with us for training modules that we want to actually initiate very soon. So, Doctor, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shibu John. Esteemed dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, greetings from the Indian Society of Oral Implantologists. It's an absolute privilege for me to stand before you as the president of ISOI, representing the community of dedicated professionals committed to advancing oral health and implantology. Accompanying me today are my colleagues from ISOI, Dr. Amit Gupta, Dr. Sharat Shetty, Dr. Anu Gupta, and Dr. Kinjal Mehta Parikh. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to 3D Gem on the launch of this path-breaking conference. My sincere gratitude to the Institute of 3D Technology, 3D Graphy, and IIT Mumbai's joint venture 3D Gem, especially Dr. Shibu John, for extending this remarkable opportunity to the ISOI. Our partnership with this prestigious event stands as a testament to the shared belief in the power of education and research to shape the future of technology and healthcare. The theme of this conference, democratizing 3D technology with education and research to benefit all, resonates deeply with our mission at ISOI. As oral healthcare professionals, we understand the significance of technology in revolutionizing patient care and enhancing outcomes. This collaboration allows us to bridge the gap between diverse fields, engineers, doctors, dentists, aeronautical experts, and more, all united by the common thread of 3D technology. I would like to acknowledge the visionary efforts of the organizers in nurturing a platform where innovation and knowledge converge. This conference doesn't just mark an event, it marks a pivotal moment in the journey towards a future enriched by cutting-edge enhancements. Furthermore, it is essential to underscore the transformative role of 3D technology in dentistry. It enables us to create patient-specific implants, surgical guides and prosthetics, resulting in improved patient outcomes, reduced surgery time and enhanced overall treatment success. As proud Indians, we must also take a moment to celebrate our nation's remarkable achievements such as our successful lunar landing. These feats of science and technology, like the one that placed India's flag on the moon, remind us of our collective potential to reach for the stars, quite literally, and to make history with our ingenuity and determination. On behalf of the Indian Society of Oral Implantologists, I assure you that we are committed to contributing our expertise and insight to this conference. Our collective efforts will undoubtedly propel the growth of 3D technology, fostering collaboration and learning that transcends boundaries. I take this opportunity to welcome you all to the 29th Annual Conference of ISOI from 6 to 8 October 2023 at Hotel Sahara Star, Mumbai. The theme of which is digital dentistry. Thank you once again for embracing us into the fold of this exceptional event. We look forward to enriching discussions, new partnerships, and an impactful conference that echoes in the corridors of time. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Himanshu. And dental is it's not new for dental to have been able to absorb this technology. It has been there for years now, almost 2 decades in India. One senior respondent, whom I know, Dr. Dinesh Jain, he had his first machine, a metal EOS machine, being placed in one of his labs here in India, and he being also one of the members in ISO. Sir was not there, he will be traveling, he's in US, otherwise he could also have joined the event. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your nice encouraging words. Yes, ISOI, we will also want to be an active respondent to see that how the technology can also be showcased there. Now, going forward, it's also important that government institutions also support initiatives like these. So I have my privilege to invite Mr. Manoj Singh, who is the Zonal General Manager with MSME NSIC. We had the privilege of also connecting with MSME DFO to also actively support our events for startups in 3D to also get subsidies. So we are actually on the process of getting that accorded soon. But thank you so much, sir, for your presence and also your words in terms of how MSME as startups in the country can benefit from this technology and also probably want to get into 3D printing solutions going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sidhu. Respected Dr. Jesh, Dr. Shivu, all the dignitaries, all the participants, ladies and gentlemen. Very good afternoon to all of you. It's my honor and privilege to be part of this event, especially a dream institute for many of you. And of course, this is not for the youth only. IIT Bombay itself gives a lot of products to the world organization. As Dr. Shivu has told, the National Small Industries Corporation Limited is a Government of India enterprises under Ministry of MSME. What is MSME? First of all, we should have MSME stand for micro, small and medium enterprises. Micro, small and medium enterprises, as per the definition of the Government of India, which is 1st July 2020, for the micro enterprises, if investment in the plant and machinery is 1 crore and turnover is less than 5 crore, then it comes under micro enterprises. If investment in the plant and machinery is 10 crore and turnover is less than 50 crore, it comes under small enterprises. And if investment in the plant and machinery is up to 50 crore and turnover is 250 crore, it comes under medium enterprises. So enterprises word comes in the picture when MSME Act 2006 has come. Enterprises means is manufacturing as well as service sector has come into the picture. Then we have credit support also. We have tied with almost all nationalized banks as well as some private banks. So we handhold to get their credit requirement of the MSMEs. and raw material assistance is also there, where we give finance to the micro, small and medium enterprises against security of the bank guarantee. Then technologies, we have various technology center across India, and we are giving lot of training and incubation programs for the enterprises, especially to motivate them to become the entrepreneur. Then we have an NSIC venture capital fund, where this comes under Sri Fund of Government of India, where funds are from there. 50,000 crore fund is there, 10,000 crore is being implemented by the Government of India, and 40,000 from the daughter fund. And we are financing it 3 years continuously. We are having growth in increase in the profit as well as turnover. Then we are eligible for that. We have already financed almost 5,000 crore. These are the some briefs about what NSIC is doing, what is the role of basically MSMEs, and I think most of them, one who will start from a startup, there are a lot of things with the start. This will help a lot for the startups companies, and please contact us. Our details of all these are available in our website www.nsic.co.in, or you can approach our nearest branch or zonal office. Thank you very much for inviting us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So, in fact, when I met Mr. Kantaravji at the Andheri office, actually got to know so much of schemes which have already been floated, and it's been very active. And it's actually, so I think awareness is the key. So government is doing a lot of initiatives in terms of also encouraging startups in the country, and we should take the advantage in terms of taking them forward. So I'm sure with your active participation, sir, and so now I also have somebody who will represent the startups in 3D printing solutions. They would be also very keen to know and understand how this can be of benefit. So let me invite Mr. Sagar Deshmukh, who is the president of IIMF. IMF stands for the Indian Additive Manufacturing Forum, a very dynamic association of 3D printing service providers in the country, ladies and gentlemen, and they've been really active, and we've been formulating and wanting to take this forward. Sagar also is in the business of 3D printing services across specialization, which I understand, and I have been updated. Z-Pro is the company. So yeah, Sagar, please.
Thank you, Shibu, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, as Shibu rightly said, we are not only the association of people who are providing 3D printing services, but yes, we are more than that. We are today a group of more than 350 people who are into 3D printing industry. And when we started, we were essentially a group of people who were providing 3D printing services. But then eventually we realized that only 3D printing service providers will not be sufficient for the industry to grow. And basically, I would like to focus why we are here, or why we exist in the very first place. So, Indian Additive Manufacturing Forum started with a vision that whatever problems today 3D printing industry people face, like 3D printing service providers, 3D printer manufacturers, maybe the product designers, whatever they face, basically we did not want them to repeat the mistakes we made. Yeah? So we learned it hard way. I myself designed a 3D printer way back in 2013, taking all the data from the Google and whatnot, and that was the starting point for us to start IIMF. That we did not want others to make the same mistakes. So what we generally do is, we always share good practices on the to our fellow members. That this is what you should not do. This is how it should be done. So that is the sole agenda. So yeah, once we progressed, we understood that only 3D printing service providers will not help the industry or the organization to grow. So we slowly started getting more members who are now product designers. Most of them are 3D printer manufacturers, like Divide by Zero is one of the members. Then we have other printer manufacturers from Ahmedabad, Surat and whatnot. Fractal Works is also there. So there are many such people. There are 3D printing service providers like Sri Rapid Technology is also member of IAMF. And yes, we are also associated with APMA. And I myself is a speaker at Plastivision. So I have been speaking at Plastivision 2017 in consultantly. Yeah, and there are good service providers with us like Imaginary and Protasys, lot of people. So why we are here is because we understand that collaboration is a key, and the whole idea of IMF is to collaborate. We all are service providers, most of them are service providers, we don't compete with each other. So we focus completely on the collaboration, and that is when I was talking to Shibu, I totally agreed with what he said or what the motivation he has, that we want to democratize 3D printing. And we are flexible, we are young dynamic organization as he rightly said. So we definitely wanted to collaborate with 3D Gem, and thank you Shibu for giving us the opportunity to collaborate. And on 9th and 10th December we would be participating, most of our members would be participating. So we have students who will be participating in the poster competition. We have 3D printer manufacturers, they would be displaying their printers. And the very interesting part, what I really want to work on is, I want to really work with people like Shibu, and as printer manufacturers, we want to understand what industry wants as a product. Yeah, what next? After FDM, after SLA, after SLS, after DMLS, what next? What next you want us to work on? We are technocrats, so we can design a printer, but you have to tell us the problem. Bioplotter. Yeah, so we have somebody from silicon printing. So he makes only the breast implants. So we have somebody from that industry also. Yeah, right, Mr. Vikas Gar. So he's also a part of IIMF. So we have people like this. What we are lacking is inputs from the industry, and then that is where I think IIMF and 3D Gem can really contribute, and we can have a way ahead, right? Thank you Shibu, and all the best.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you. I think this is a great opportunity in terms of working in collaboration to see that these technologies can be also rightly discovered one and also then propagated in terms of for people to benefit from it. So then when you spoke about silicon, it's also something very interesting where pharmaceutical companies are also looking at. So then I would not want to miss out an opportunity to invite Dr. Hemant and also Dr. Krishna. Dr. Krishna is the principal for the Bombay Pharmacy College of Pharmacy, and also Dr. Hemant. Sir is actually the honorary treasurer for the Indian Pharmaceutical Association. Sir, please.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be here at this esteemed institute. And I take this opportunity to briefly introduce what IPA is. Indian Pharmaceutical Association is an association of pharmacists and pharmaceutical sciences which encompasses members from academics, regulatories, industry, and more predominantly from the academics basically. And it's an 80 years plus institute. And my colleagues from IPA are here. Basically, they are from the Maharashtra State Branch of IPA. We have the chairman, Mr. Nitin Maniar, the vice president, Mr. Satish Shah, and as Dr. Shibu said, the principal of BCP. Our primary intention of being here is to understand what this technology has for us. As when I say has for us, is has for the institute per se. Because Bombay College of Pharmacy has been a premier institute as regards to pharmaceutical sciences, and we have a lot of research being done in different sectors like pharmacology, pharmaceutics, pharma analysis, medicinal chemistry, and so on and so forth basically. And we have an excellent team of researchers here. So the question that everyone asks, what is it for me? So basically what 3D technology can basically enhance our capability and also accentuate basically knowledge and skills amongst the students, because these going further, and I believe from the talk that we all had, this is going to be a technology of the future, and it is in the good stead that our students be equipped with it and also be armed when they go out as entrepreneurs or maybe working as pharma professionals, so that they don't lag behind in terms of knowledge quotient and also be aligned to what the industry is going further. So this has been our primarily objective of attending and supporting Dr. Shibu, and I think Dr. Shibu had a quite a good, would say, purposeful discussion with our chairman, Dr. Mr. Nitin Manya, and Principal Iyer. So I think this is a good stage that we can take it further and enhance this collaborations for win-win solutions for together. I would now invite Dr. Krishna Iyer to just brief upon what the research that we are doing at Bombay College of Pharmacy, and I urge you gentlemen and experts in your own field how you can help us and contribute towards enhancing those skill set and make a cutting edge research in this area. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I go back to what Sir said. I like that idea of maybe the first two humans were 3D printed. But then as I was thinking about it, it also dawned to me, whoever did that 3D printing at that time actually withheld the knowledge of 3D printing from those two people for many years. The end result is, as they try to propagate, here we are. The no two are the same. Okay, in other words, they are now in a very interesting situation. That no two humans on this world are identical. And that creates a big issue, at least from the healthcare perspective, that no two people's disease status is exactly the same. And therefore, the expectation that they will respond exactly the same way to medicine is also zero. In fact, more recently, if you look at the data of the way allopathic system has developed, that in spite of the fact that no two humans are the same, if you go to the market, if you have a headache, you have tablets of only two strengths available. Paracetamol, either you take 500 or you take 650, in case the headache is a little bit more or fever. And come to think about it, it's a very odd scenario, and data has started to show that when you look at the way people respond to medicines, you find close to 50% of the people don't respond the way you want. Most of the time, you have to be lucky to be in that 50% responding expectedly, but if you are in the remaining 50%, either you don't respond at all, or you show some unusual responses and come down with other toxicity for which you have to go to the doctor again. And that brings us to the point where wouldn't it be great that if this 3D technology, both in terms of, as you said, visualization, imaging, progresses to the point that we can very accurately characterize the disease state of a person, and likewise, if we can tailor-make a medication based on what we know about the disease and the person, it would be great, which is what we call as personalized medicine. So when you go with your fever, the doctor will say, this person needs only 323 milligrams. While if he goes, he says he needs about 522 milligrams. And if I make a tablet exactly like that, I get 100% response. That is where we should visualize healthcare as it should be. Sir said, a polypill, 4 medications. You know, why take one? I have BP and diabetes. And it is such that I need 33 milligrams of this and 44 of that. It will go great. You can imagine where you can take healthcare to. You go to a doctor, you get a medicine and respond perfectly well to it. There is no failure. We are just starting to do research in that. So as Sir said, I am not going to talk about research which is happening. I am going to talk about where research should be happening. And we are hoping that as we become part of this consortium, at some point in the future, we will be able to contribute to this dream of everybody responding perfectly to whatever they want. So thank you, and I hope that.
Thank you, Dr. Iyer. In fact, I had a great opportunity to be in your college, Doctor, and we see a prospect to have a workshop dedicated on the subject. So I have two of the technology partners who will also be there joining that event. There is one event happening in October, and then subsequently one would be very dedicated in terms of even looking at the extended technologies that can be utilized, when it comes to pharma. So thank you so much, Doctor, for both of yours, the detailed expression in terms of what this technology can do. So now I have the opportunity to go to the next sessions where technology experts and who've been doing some great work in this space in 3D will share the presentation. But before that, I would like to encourage all of the industry association members to please come on stage. We'll need to take a clip or a photo. The experts from 3D who will then share their presentation and their knowledge on how and what these products and what these solutions can do. Let me take the opportunity to welcome Mr. Sushant Banerjee. May I just ask all of you to just clap your hands to invite him. Mr. Sushant is the founder with Orthotech India, an orthopedic implant manufacturing company for almost last 30 years. A well-set and well-designed plant in Valsad in Gujarat. And when we met 2.5 years back, sir, I did have an opportunity to share with him what 3D can do. And he's a very passionate person and a first generation entrepreneur for what he is. And he has realized the importance of 3D for customized solutions in terms of orthopedic implants in 3D, in terms of offering these to the doctors and surgeons. So here I am Sushant Banerjee, who will share what and how he has got into 3D and 3D technology to inspire many of them who probably would want to even start 3D printing services soon. Thank you so much.
Good evening Shibu. I welcome all the dignitaries in this hall after a small tea break, which was a very interesting one. Okay, and I like to thank Dr. Jayesh Belare for giving us an opportunity to present what Orthotech is all about. There will be a long discussion that I can take on, but I would like to keep it very short and simple. Orthotech is really very, very happy to be a part of a democratizing 3D technology with education and research to benefit all. This has been always the first priority of Orthotech, to democratize the technology. A small brief about Orthotech's journey from subtractive to additive technology. Can I have the video?
Getting an implant can be an overwhelming and emotional process for an individual. And that's why you deserve a product that has the confidence of most surgeons invested in it. But what does it take to achieve this confidence? Years and years of experience and experiment to perfect the promise, state-of-the-art facilities, in-depth quality and excellence. A focused set of minds working relentlessly towards that very promise. For over 20 years, Orthotech has constantly delivered that very promise. Certified by the British Standards Institution, our FDA-approved products have been bringing continuous innovation in the industry along with customer satisfaction. From the forging stage, using the global standard raw material to the final packaging of the product in a world-class clean room facility, our skilled team of workers and engineers push towards deriving the perfect product every time. Our plant incorporates the latest CNC machinery, certified quality check procedures, and India's first robotic plasma coating. our top-notch microbiology and state-of-the-art sterilization labs, make sure that every product that hits the market is as pure as it's meant to be. To continue striving for excellence and enhance our products. That is our vision for this company. To be the reason of confidence for not just the surgeons, but the patients as well, worldwide. Orthotech welcomes you too, to implant with confidence.
So we move on from subtractive to additive now. 3D systems is a machine which is worldwide USFDA approved. Machine which we have added in our
more innovation, more originality, more customer success. In healthcare, medical device manufacturing is pushing into new, innovative solutions for better surgical outcomes. And 3D Systems is the place where your medical device ideas become a reality.
So now our journey starts from here, that is 3D printing and 3D designing. So we have branded it as osteoblade, imagination to reality. We get the MRI and CT scan, from which we make a 3D CAD model, from which we start doing the virtual implantation. And then we do the assessment, biomechanical and preclinical assessment through ANSYS, and then we have the surgeon's approval, and then the final customization of the natural bone anatomy implant is made. So we have a whole ecosystem to give service to the surgeon. I am sure this will change the whole scenario. And my presence over here is basically for this reason, to create a consortium. Clinicians are the surgeons. We have the production engineers, Orthotech, we have a team of production engineers. We are looking for clinical engineers who can do the biomechanical study, for which we have already created an Orthotech Research Center in IIT Guwahati, where we have 4 PhD students who are working on biomechanics, who are studying on biomechanics, are doing this validation there. So we need IIT Bombay to support us in this project as well, and we would like to be very happy to get involved with IIT Bombay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susanji. Now that is about a service center which is actually who has gained traction in terms of offering services in orthopedics. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's so important that the materials are very important now. That as Dr. Susanji also mentioned about how it has been centered and 3D printed. You need powders which can actually also powders required to see that the final product is also come into light. So here is a young gentleman by the name Vignesh Nagarajan, who is the CEO and is also one of the founders of this company, Severe Matrix Nano. They are actually in the manufacturing of powders. They are also our partners in this event as board sponsors.
I am Vignesh from Severe Matrix Nano Private Limited. We are a plasma-based metal powder and spherical powder manufacturing company from nanoscale to micron scale that we have been doing. So we started back in 2014, where we were an R&D startup of our parental company, where we were working on to see how we can work on to nano materials and spherical micron materials. 2015 we came up as a company which is more focused into doing spherical materials in both nanoscale and in micron scale. So a main agenda when we were starting this was to reduce imports of material which are critical for manufacturing applications. As you see, be it aerospace or medical, I am a common man for all of you because I supply material to both the industries. So we as of today make powders for additive manufacturing, MIM, HIP, surface hardenings, biologicals, agricultures. So biological agricultures are mostly your titaniums, silvers, and in agriculture it's your nano-based products. For advanced manufacturing, that's basically for your thermal spray and plasma coatings. Then we make powders for microelectronics. We supply as of today to Lucas, TVS and other automotive industries. We do nano silicon and nano graphite, spherical nano graphites for their batteries. We also design and customize plasma systems for various aerospace applications like tribology testing. So we, most of the, like the recent times we have done one project with ISRO where we have a 1 megawatt plasma wind tunnel where we have tested the effect of plasma on the rocket cones and the satellite surfaces for erosions. Generally, what we do is also on material and manufacturing process development with industries. We come up with customized material as per industry needs. So we have been keenly working with machine manufacturers like Amaze, Intech, and even research organizations like IIT Delhi, IIT Kharagpur, where we work on customized materials for additive manufacturing. So which are off the record materials. You have the regular materials that are used, but we make customized materials which can be used for 3D printing. So we are qualified with OEMs on their machines for both printing as well as applications. So for Supercraft 3D uses our titanium exclusively on their EOS machines for their implants and dental, or Objectify uses our material for their aerospace projects. Then we have Amaze who is qualified as their OEM suppliers along with their machines. Most of the powders are manufactured in India by us. Same way we have recently with Intech and IIT Madras also qualifying us for biomedical. And these are spherical titanium powder that we do. So key to this is our collaboration with a French company called as Techna Plasma Systems. So 2013 we were the first Indian company who collaborated with Techna. We said we will manufacture heating coils and heat exchangers for your plasma systems. That's where we started our collaboration with Techna. From being their machine manufacturers, we moved on to developing as powder and powder associate partners in India. So we are in India since 2015 with Techna, and our main key to technology is their induction plasma torches. So the torches are from Techna Plasma System. So they are the only company globally that makes induction plasma torches, which is an electrode-free torch, which gives me zero contamination on any material I make. So zero depletion, and my raw material is not fixed that should be conductive or I need preheating or pre-melting. So none of these requirements are there. I have two kinds of feedstock that I regularly use, that's crushed powders and wires. So if you see, it's a very simple process. We have a plasma torch which is actually an RF generator which is ionizing argon gas and making it into plasma, where we feed in our feedstock as wires or powders of desire. If you want, powders are usually for reconditioning that we feed, like you have, we work on the model of sustainability. So you have any AM powder left with you, you give it back to us, we can rework it for you and give it as reusable virgin powders. So whatever odd size powders or extra powders with higher oxygen content, impurities are there, given back to us can be recycled. So we have been working with companies like Amaze, Wipro, Amazon Engineering, all helping them to reuse the powders and reduce their wastages. Electronics we are working on with them. Then this is one of our machines in Hyderabad now, which was in Noida earlier. This is only in Noida now. There were earlier two machines in Noida, the 80 kilowatt and the 40 kilowatt. Now the 80 kilowatt is there and the 40 kilowatt is moved to Hyderabad at NCAM. So we are soon coming up with our 200 kilowatt also, which is going to be more diverse with its kind of raw materials that can be used in it. So this is a brief about Matrix Nano, what we do and what service we offer. Thank you.
So now next I would like to invite Dr. Ashish Mittal, who is a dentist by profession, but he is also a technocrat. He's been working with various different companies like 3Shape and others. And now that he is also the CEO of Edit India, a company offering a buffet of solutions in 3D, starting from scanning to 3D printing. Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Dr. Shibu. We were supposed to collaborate in my previous company 3Shape, but I mean it never happened. I didn't have the breadth of products that time, but of course now I have it. And it's such a glad moment for me personally to meet Dr. Jayesh. I'm meeting him after 21 years now. So I've been empowered by IIT to approach IIT, and we would like to do some kind of a joint educational program, not necessarily IIT to be highlighted. We can do it for the entire industry because we want the entire industry to grow. And yeah, so this is exactly what we will also showcase in the conference. We will present ourselves with, you will see our lab scanners, you will see our intraoral scanners, you will see our wet mills, 4-axis, 5-axis, you will see our DLP printers, you will see our materials, whether it's zirconia, PEEK, you will see glass ceramics, and along with this we need to jointly take this together, because I feel this is a golden time for dentistry in India. So this is the reason why I've come here. Thank you so much, Dr. Shibu. Thank you so much, Dr. Jayesh. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Rajesh Mrityunjayan and I am the Vice President for Monotech Systems Limited. And we have formed a division called 3D Monotech. The idea was 8 years back when we started this business for Monotech. We were only known as a 2D printing solution. So we were selling 2D printers to the customers in India. We were importing and selling. But our MD had a vision of manufacturing our own machines for 2D printers, which we started off, and we have our own brand in 2D. But 8 years back when I got an opportunity to develop this business for him, I already had 4 years of experience in the 3D printing market, which was a very early stages of additive manufacturing. We know, many of us know that there was some composite and some Z-Corp, the company called Z-Corp 3D Systems, few of them with SLA, SLS and a few others into the production side of, and very few buyers in the market. Then we saw that the market moved to a mass, I would say democratization of 3D printing, where it went into a low-cost mode, and a lot of low-cost machines came in, and that really democratized 3D printing in India and world over. But that is not the democratization which we should be thinking about. Basically, it is good for us, but we need to get out of that as well. So while we talk about democratization with the machines, we should also look at how we can develop the materials, how we can get into specific applications which are very much particular and pertinent for our industry in India today. So, of course, for the when we talk about the medical side of it, there is a lot of commonality with the European and other, and we follow those standards. But when we come out for manufacturing in India, may it be for medical or for automotive or for aerospace, maybe for aerospace we are talking about OEMs outside, but when we talk about manufacturing for India, we need to set standards like, for example, defense and few other industries. We need to standardize ourselves with respect to materials and applications. And this is the thought process which Monotech we started off. And of course, the idea was to get into a number of solutions, a number of technologies which will help the industry with different technologies and getting them into India and democratizing it in a way. So we started with, we today have 7 OEMs, we have partnered with 7 OEMs, and we relate to right from polymers, different type of polymers, thermoplastics, thermosets, and even we talk about composites now, and then we are into metals and ceramics as well. So this was the technologies bringing into India and selling it. But what we saw was there was a gap, because the requirement in India is completely slightly different, or slightly more different than the others outside, because the technologies are developed and the materials are developed as per the global requirements. But in India, the requirements are different. So our requirements are in certain grades of materials, certain applications where we are very unique to. So this is where we started to think that I think we need to democratize in terms of materials, and in the process we started democratizing the applications. So the applications are very important for us, because we follow standards of European standards, but the problem here is we do not implement them very easily. It's not very easy to implement in India. For example, we have been trying to get into automotive for quite some time, one of the largest industries in India, but it's very difficult to set standards there, because they have their standards already set, and it's very difficult to change them from, say, aluminium to composites for their in-process requirement, or to prove them that. And today when we talk about medical, it's very difficult for us to, even the medical devices, to even change them from what we have to what we are going to do with 3D printing. These are the challenges which I think we have to commonly address as a as a group, and that is where we are seeing that the industry association partners, the industry users, and we as suppliers are wanting to work on. So just we started off in that. We have started with our own manufacturing of machines for India, but we found that that is something which we are trying to reinvent the wheel, basically, because there are people already who have done it. And so what should we do? We should get into materials which are required for the industry now. So we thought of starting with something. So we have recently started with graphene infused thermoplastics. We have started getting into that now, and we are getting into the manufacturing of that. We have actually technology tie-up with CSIR, and we are talking about addressing this with the university, academy and industry partnership. So we are getting into that. So the machine is just part of it, but we would like to work on the complete solution for the industry, and that's what we are trying to do as a company. And we are thankful to Shibu. Actually, Shibu, my association, go a long way, like most of you. Ever since I have been in 3D printing, I know him, and we have been talking about democratizing this in a big way. But today we are seeing it happen, and maybe we'll see this in December when we have the show, and we are all going to be together. And I thank you, all of you, and thank Shibu for this opportunity. And I'm sorry I didn't have a presentation, but it's okay. I mean, we will keep meeting each other. And I would also like to know from all of you your problems, your solution, what solutions we can give, because that is something which we work on. So it is not just the machine or the materials or the applications, it's the complete solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajesh. I'm sure you will all be joining for the main event. Rajesh will definitely have something to share that time on the slides. So now let me invite you all, let me introduce you all, to Sohir, who is actually a company, who is actually promoting a technology called bioprinting. Here is a good relative synergy that we have, Dr. Iyer and also Dr. Hemant. This is for the pharmaceutical companies to an extent that we will do. That doesn't confine us to only pharmaceutical, but there are more medical applications in various areas also. Please, thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shibu. I think that was a beautiful introduction. So I'll just give you a quick background. I've been listening to a lot of you speak, and very much a lot of relevance to the 3D printing industry. Our company, we are machine manufacturers, so we are 3D printing manufacturers. But our focus was not to again reinvent the wheel. We didn't want to get back into FDM printers, which is something that has become very steady and commonplace over many years, right? So just the way 3D printing for plastics has become democratized, right? And there are plenty of people who understand this process. That happened over 10 years where people innovated constantly, and then the cost of printers came sufficiently low that it was available for others. But that's only for plastics. What about other things? So our vision for Aave Biosciences was basically do the same for healthcare. So get into biotech space, manufacture 3D printers for materials other than plastic and metal. So we do not touch plastic and metal. Right? So basically we got into bioprinting, which is the printing of hydrogels, pastes, ceramics, these kind of materials which support life, right? So if you print these materials with live cells, you can actually see the cells grow in the material, and that's the basic concept for 3D bioprinting, right? Where a bioprinter is essentially no longer printing with plastic. You're printing actually with the components of life itself. So we started out with bioprinting a couple of years ago, and over a period of time, we started getting into other aspects of the biosciences or biotech space. So, one important thing, especially, I've also heard precision being, a common, problem. And so when we started getting into this, because we're working with life sciences, very high precision, dispensing of, your reagents and chemicals was required. So over a period of time, we even got into, high, liquid handling instruments, which is very often used in the biotech space, to be able to provide the nutrients in the controlled quantity to your cells. And so that's how we got into different aspects of the biotech, right? So what we are today essentially is an OEM. We are manufacturers. The entire printer, the hardware, the design, the software, everything is covered by us. We do not use open source code. We write our own code. We do not use printers which are imported from outside India. We manufacture our own, make our own designs and assemble them in Bangalore. So we do all of this basically to be able to aid research. Our customers are actually research people in the field of research, right? So the problem statement is, how do I do any research if the instruments for research are being imported and I don't get proper support post that, right? So an expensive instrument, once you buy it, and if it doesn't work, it's a very heavy liability on any research project. So our problem statement was that, so let's focus on building this tech up from the ground in India and enable that research to happen right here from the machine side onwards, right? So that's basically where we started. And so that's how we got into, we make our own machines, make our own software, everything, all of it, right? And the material side is something we work with research collaborators like IIT Madras, like IIT Bangalore, and to be able to develop the entire application, like Rajesh was saying, which is very relevant to what we're doing as well, right? So, I mean, these are some of the partners we work with. Our very first bioprinter was actually developed with IIT Bangalore, where they were doing bone bioprinting. Our very first silicone 3D printer, silicone material, was developed with IIT Madras, where they are working on being able to 3D print with silicone rather than your plastics and things. Our very first Peak 3D printer was developed for BITS Goa, where they were doing research for an ISRO-based project for aerospace applications, right? So we are the partners for research where in situations where you need an industry to come in and to be able to make a machine, to have the knowledge or expertise of 3D printing, but also to provide service for the machine so that research will be for 2 to 3 years, right? And that's basically where our vision is. And now we're working with INSTEM Bangalore to be able to do stem cell cultures and be able to actually see heart cells grow and thrive. So this is the kind of the field we work in, and it's really exciting to be a very small player in a very large ecosystem, honestly, right? So just to give you an idea, like for example, an example of the kind of project we undertake, right? So for IIT Madras, they required, to be able to print with silicone. So if you've seen silicone gels and pastes, they're really high viscosity. It's very difficult to get them out of a really fine nozzle, and if you want 50 microns of precision, good luck finding something to provide that kind of pressure, right? But we were able to, actually make a machine, make an extruder, make the 3D printer to be able to, deliver this kind of thing. And also account for, so this is a research problem statement. We don't know what we're up against. The requirements could change as, the project goes along. So we also, designed it, sat with them, understood the requirements, designed it with additional requirements such as heated chamber. What are the material needs, high temperature curing post? What are the material, what if I'm trying to work with another material, which is UV curable instead of, just, thermosetting? We accounted for all these. What if I want to actually image and see whether I'm getting the 50 microns that I promised? How do I do the imaging for that? So we included like a microscopy tool head within 3D printer itself, where if I remove the print head of the 3D printer, I can put a microscopy tool head and view what I've actually seen and printed, right? So these are the kind of things we've done for them. So this is the printer that has now been installed at IIT Madras. And we were able to achieve fine grids. And during this research project with them, they gave us the material, we tried it, we said, hey, okay, we need to change the specs according to this, then we give them more feedback, then, the iterative process. We were able to see that, with silicon, if I just change the grid size and the porosity in our software, I was able to see different properties in the entire object. It was different stiffnesses, different porosities, all sorts of things, right? So this is where we are helping people in research by providing the instruments and the after-sales support to make sure that the project goes on for a long period of time, right? And we sit with the students and even handhold them on the 3D printing side, and also understand from them what are they trying to do in terms of materials and the various parameters that they would be changing in the process. And just a very quick, so even for BITS Goa, it's the same thing, right? They wanted to 3D print a PEEK. PEEK is a high temperature polymer. You cannot throw that in a normal FDM machine. It doesn't work. So we actually, sat with them, understood the requirements. Okay, so this is, if you do 3D printing of PEEK, you want to do mechanical testing. And if you do mechanical testing, you're going to go for a dog bone structure. So, okay, our objective was to be able to print these dog bones and account for other possible research. Right? For example, chamber temperature, there needs to be 100 Celsius. You want dual print heads because apart from PEEK, if you want to throw in different materials, you want to be able to print with that. And bed plates, you want to continuously use the machine, so keep swapping the bed out so that you can keep printing. And we developed this machine, and we were actually able to see PEEK dog bones being printed. These are being tested by BITS Goa for their applications. They're sharing the results with this. So we were able to print PEEK discs. So this was with PEEK polymer, which was biomedical grade. So these are being sent to Germany for implant analysis to be able to understand whether the 3D printing process introduces impurities which would impact your rejection rates and things like that. So this was a really, again, a good project where the problem statement was not well defined, but we were able to use 3D printing technology to solve that problem. Right? So this is the kind of work we do. I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry. So this is one level up in terms of medical 3D printers that we're looking at. Thank you so much. Now, so we also talk about the various aspects. So scanning was actually missed out. Scanning also being one of the key part of the 3D ecosystem. So I have Gaurang, who's done some great work in 3D scanning. You're actually into services, and that will be the last presentation for us.
Sept, which is used for BWTS process and even for the virtual tool, that all the equipment is placed where all the equipment is placed. So one chip has more than 400 to 500 scans, and it takes 4 to 5 days. If you have to go to the bottom of the chip, this way you will be able to see the data. At the end of the video, you will have a virtual tool. So in this way, you will see the placement of the equipment. And if you have to retrofit and you want to change the pipelines, then we can give you the drawings doing VR modelings. And we go for window. So this is a blade of a windmill. When we scan, it is used for many different purposes on maintenance thing. Because all the maintenance companies are from Denmark and abroad. So they need the data. So this is a small virtual tour of a restaurant. Where you are able to see the ambience. And we would also integrate this in Google. So how, if you are on a Google map and you are walking on the map, then you will be able to see your premises on left hand side or right hand side of the road. We are rushing it up, so this is fine for now. Yeah, thank you.
That was very fast. Thank you so much, Gaurang. So I'm sure this was, in a nutshell, it was a very brief introduction of all these technologies. I'm sure on 9th and 10th of December we'll come up with more technologies and technologists and researchers and experts to come and share across sectors in terms of what is installed. Thank you once again for all the presentations. And may I now invite Dr. Jayesh Ballare, sir, to conclude and give us concluding remarks, inviting everybody.
And my sincere thanks to all of you for being here, the industry and academic associations and the sponsors and manufacturers. And it's a great delight to hear the fantastic work that you all are doing. My thanks also to my faculty colleagues who have come, to our dean who left. I met the director also for a few minutes. He couldn't come, but he says he'll try to come on the 8th and 9th and 10th. So we look forward to that event and your presence there. Thanks to Shibu, of course, and my team, Shaunak, and the photographer, videographer, and the guy who gave us the eats in the middle here. So, but above all, see you all. Please encourage your partners and your members to attend in force, and also see and encourage the research work that our students and perhaps students from other institutions are doing, and perhaps you and your colleagues are also doing and would like to display at such an event besides the talks. So with that, we bring this event to a close. Thank you and have a good evening.
Thank you.